RPA stands for Robotic Process Automation. When we hear the word robot, most of us think of some science fiction mechanical being meant to look like a human, or robots on an automotive assembly line repeating a task over and over like welding body parts onto a frame. RPA robots are more like the auto assembly line robots, but instead of working with auto parts, they work with data. And they are very good at doing the mundane, repetitive tasks that many of us humans find very tedious and boring. The RPA robot is now sounding more like a computer program than a robot, so why is it called a robot? RPA robots, often referred to as bots, are called robots because they are software that is designed to act like a human. We'll see an example of that in a few moments. Before I get to that example, I want to talk about the different software solutions for building RPA robots. Some of the more popular RPA solutions are Blue Prism, UiPath, and Automation Anywhere. In this tutorial series, we will only be working with UiPath. In short, when we are talking about RPA, Robotic Process Automation in general, we are talking about software that imitates human interaction with digital systems and software. When we talk about Blue Prism, UiPath, or Automation Anywhere, we're talking about specific software solutions used to create an RPA robot. UiPath bots are not meant to replace any human jobs, but are meant to help humans do their job better. What I mean by that is, UiPath bots are good at the things humans are not good at. For example, let's say a human has to create a report the same way every Friday at 10 a.m. So every Friday at 10 a.m., the employee has to remember to stop what they are doing, create that report, email it out, then they can return to what they were working on. That report may not be difficult to create, but it's a nuisance and interrupts that employee's workflow. Most employees would prefer to have that report automated with a UiPath bot than have to manually create that report every Friday at 10 a.m. A process that makes a good candidate for UiPath automation will be repetitive in nature, have clear and consistent processing instructions, and any decision-making will have standardized and predictive rules. I have made up an example of a process that fits this criteria, and I've created a UiPath bot to automate that process. I'm going to quickly show the process a human would use to create that report. Then we will take a brief look at some of the UiPath code to create that report to give you an idea of what UiPath code looks like. Then I will run the UiPath bot that will create that report and email out that file. To create our report, the first thing we need to do is log into the acme-test.uipath.com website to download the Excel files used to create the report. Once logged in, we need to go to the Excel download page, which looks like this. To download the Excel files, we need to go to the bottom of the page. Here at the bottom of the page, we click on Dataset 1, then Dataset 2, then Dataset 3 to download the 3 Excel files. Once the 3 files are downloaded, we log out and close the browser window. When I run the bot in a few moments, we will watch that bot act like a human by logging into the acme-test.uipath.com website. It will go to the download page, then it will go to the bottom of the download page, and it will download the files, and then log out. These are the 3 Excel files downloaded from the website. All 3 files have new account information. What we will do from here is add all 3 new accounts into a new Excel file with the columns in a different order. The new order will be last name, then first name, then email, and the rest will be the same. All of the new accounts added will then be sorted by last name, and each new account will get a unique account number that will replace that entry number. This is how the new Excel file will look after UiPath writes it out. And this is what the email will look like once it's emailed out. I created a text message and then added the file that we just made as an attachment. This is what UiPath Studio looks like with the code of our UiPath bot. The center area is the design window. The window on the far left is showing the project tab. This UiPath program has two modules, the main module and the populate new data table module. UiPath stores Excel worksheets as data tables. UiPath allows us to group sequences inside of other sequences, so we can keep a group of sequences together and separate. In this example, the red box is our main sequence. I have renamed that to UiPath_video_01. Inside that sequence, we have the activity, which I've renamed to download Excel file from acme-test.uipath.com. We'll see where I get that activity from in a moment. This activity will open the Edge browser and go to the website we have typed in the URL, which in this case is acme-test.uipath.com/login. Also inside the orange box, we see the Do section of the activity with a group of sequences, all highlighted in yellow. That shows after we open the browser window and go to that website, we will log in, go to the download page, download the files, and log out. Each of these 4 steps is a sequence that has activities in it to accomplish that task. I've expanded out the login sequence inside of the do sequence by clicking on the double arrows circled in green on the upper right corner of that sequence. Over on the left of the screen, we are now in the Activities tab. Activities are what we use to code with. For example, I would double-click or drag and drop that type into activity from the left into a sequence in our design window. Circled in orange is what will be typed into our type into activity. In this case, we see that UiPath will type in my login ID. I've minimized the download Excel file from acme-test.uipath.com sequence, and I've expanded the subsequence populate new data table from 3 data tables read in. Remember, I said a data table was how UiPath holds Excel spreadsheets, and we have 3 of them. So instead of writing the code to move the data 3 times, I wrote a separate module called populate new data table. Then I call that module 3 times, once for each of the Excel files we read in. Lastly, we will send out an email with a short message and attach the Excel file we just created. This is the whole process, showing the main sequence, and then all of the sequences in the main sequence are minimized. I have opened up UiPath Studio to the code we just looked at, and I have added some annotations here to the code. That's why it looks slightly different. To run the code, I'm going to click this play button here up on the ribbon. But before I do that, I want to mention you might want to look down here in this lower left corner while the bot runs. The bot will print out log messages before it performs actions like logging into the website. I'll click play, and the bot has started. It's logging into the website. We see down on the left actions taken. And now it's going to the download page and the bottom of the download page, downloading the files. And now it's performing the rest of the tasks. And the bot is complete. And checking my Google email shows the email was received. The weekly report is the title we gave it. It showed up 0 minutes ago. Here's the text message. Please see attached report. And here is the report that we just created and attached to the email. UiPath works best with the most recent version of Microsoft Office. But Microsoft Office costs money, and I know many of you who want to learn UiPath might not have the money at this time for Microsoft Office. So for that reason, I'm going to do most of this tutorial series using LibreOffice and Gmail. There are some things like formatting Excel files that can only be done using Microsoft Office, and we'll talk about that when the time comes. The introduction to RPA and UiPath is done. The rest of this tutorial series will be all hands-on activities, starting in the next video, where we will learn how to download and install UiPath.